Yo, what's going on, guys? Already know my name is Strozier. 2 videos in 1 month. I am killing it right now. Anyway, you read the title. I'm going to be doing like an WHATUPRG character review. Some of the characters are good. Some of the characters are great. Some of the characters are absolute doo-doo butter and don't need to be in the show. But to get into it, I'm going to be giving my opinions and thoughts about six of the characters in the show. Emphasis on the characters. I'm not talking about these people, like the actors themselves. I don't know the actors. I don't know anything about the actors. But for those of you who have not seen the show, there definitely will be a lot of spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. Anyway, let's get into it and I hope you guys enjoy. Pope was my second favorite character in the show, and I'm really glad that it didn't make him the nerdy, funny black guy like a lot of black guys have to do in shows. He was a little bit of a nerd, but he was actually really smart, and that's what really made his character so good. The amount of clutch moments he had in that show is like phenomenal. When he knew how to work the underwater drone so they could go and find the royal merchant, or like the time when they were going to that old lady's house and they went like underneath the house, and then he made the correlation that there was a lot of mosquitoes under the house, which a lot of mosquitoes equal water, which water equals possibly a well, and then in the well they suspected the gold was in there. Genius. If I had to pick out one of my favorite moments from Pope in the show was when towards like the end of the season, JJ and Kiara were running away from Rafe and that drug dealer dude. When Pope came out of nowhere and just started beating the brakes off of Rafe, I was so hyped. I had to watch that part like over and over again. If there was like an MVP of Outer Banks, I feel like he would get it, because there were so many like moments where like if he wasn't there, then they probably would not have reached a certain objective that they were trying to reach. I can't wait to see what other crazy genius stuff he will do in the next season whenever it comes out. Yeah, I do not care for Kiara's character that much at all. Literally everybody in the show contributed to a really suspenseful or really like pivotal moment in the show, except for Kiara. Even the part where Kiara and Sarah were running through the old lady's house and they were trying to get away from the old lady with like the axe pitchfork thing. If Sarah wasn't there, Kiara would have been seriously injured. Or one thing that's good about Kiara's character though is that there was a lot of foreshadowing between her and Rafe. When they were at that kook party, Kiara and Rafe had like a few back and forth moments where they were like communicating non-verbally, like looking at each other, or they would say something slight here and there. I feel like there is history between them, and I feel like in the next season that will ignite, which will bring her character up. And hello? I can't believe this is on camera. Oh my gosh, how did I get 2? I only ordered 1. I got a new mask. So tough, isn't it? HGA stands for His Glory Alone. Very unpopular opinion, I think that Rafe is the most underrated character in the show, and I'm gonna tell you why. Halfway through the season, Rafe ended up getting kicked out of the house because he was dealing with like a drug problem and his dad didn't want to have anything to do with that. But then through that, we learned that he kind of believed that he was the glue to the very dysfunctional family that he lived in. We also learned that pretty much nobody in his family really cared about him. So then after we discovered that, we see that Rafe ended up saving his crooked rich father by to that police officer lady on the runway, which actually made a bad situation way worse. But in all actuality, Rafe saved his dad, which he's been trying to do his whole life. There's a scene where Rafe is outside in their front yard talking to his dad that wasn't there, but also talking to himself, saying how
I'm the one that's holding this family together. I saved your life.
And he was just going on, and it really showed the mental turmoil that he had to go through because of the rejection that he had been through all his whole life. I don't know, man. I feel like not a lot of people like this character. Let me know what you think. I like Rick Cameron a lot. Rich boy Topper. He was fair. He was pretty decent. It was just really hard for me to take him seriously in the show, because every time I saw his face, I kept seeing the dude from that Disney Channel show. I think it's called I Didn't Do It. Every time I saw him, all I could see was this picture. But one thing I do like is that when he had locked John B in his friend's house because he wanted the reward for his ransom and all that, he ended up like kind of changing his ways after he ended up letting John B escape and helped Sarah, which was his ex-girlfriend who John B ended up stealing. He ended up helping them escape from that burning church. I thought that was pretty good. I'm glad he wasn't just the mad jock rich boyfriend that was like,
oh, you stole my girl, so I'm gonna get you back.
JJ is hands down, undoubtedly, undisputably, unfathomably the absolute best character in Outer Banks. Everything this dude did was great. He was really crazy and spontaneous, that he made really critical decisions in dire moments. He took the blame from Pope and ended up going to jail for him. He saved John B on countless occasions. But one of my favorite scenes with him is when he had ended up stealing the drug money from the drug dealer dude. And then he ended up beating the brakes off his father, who his dad was very abusive to him. And then he ended up buying this ridiculously big pool and putting it in his backyard and stuff. And then Kiara and John B ran up on him and they're like, dude, what are you doing? He was like getting really emotional and they're like, what is wrong with you? Then he stood up and he had nothing but but covered in bruises. It just really showed how much he had gone through. I am very, very excited to see what's gonna come up next for JJ as a character. Rudy Pankow, or whatever you say, however you say the name, if you see this, hit me up. You're a phenomenal actor. Maybe I could be Pope Stunt Devil in season 2 or something, I don't know. The kook queen herself. I wasn't really sure how to feel about her character at first. Sarah's character really did a lot for pretty much almost everybody in the show. She did a whole bunch for John B, saving him from DSS, getting him the map, taking him to Chapel Hill. She saved Kiara's life when she was about to get got. She wasn't just the, you know, the romantic lover girl to the protagonist of the show. You can tell that there's a whole lot more in store for Sarah. She might have had maybe possibly the best character development in the show, because I don't know, I liked it a lot. I'm glad she just wasn't the bratty rich girl. The Beach Boy starter pack, every basic Visco girl's crush, Mr. Busted Top Lip, protagonist of the show, the reason why Outer Banks is what it is, John B. He was decent. I definitely will say that towards the end of the season, it was when his character started becoming a whole lot more interesting. All the chaos that was a little bit around him just turned to absolute mayhem, which really kind of begin to like really bring the shows together and really lure you into John B as a character. I think my favorite moment of John B was when he stole that cop car, when he was running from like all the police on the island because they thought he pewed that officer, which he didn't. I feel like after that, John B's character hit a much needed peak of interest. Great suspense, a great chaotic moment that really bloomed into something like really good. Anyway, y'all, it is the end of the video. Like this video, 2 videos in like 1 week, 1 month-ish is phenomenal. Also subscribe, because summer season is YouTube season and I'm gonna be putting out these videos. I'm trying to be on like some Emma Chamberlain type something where I just blow up out of nowhere and then I don't have to go to college anymore. I can drop out and be an influencer. See, maybe I should stay in college, so I don't even know how to say the word correctly. So having said all that, make sure y'all go watch Outer Banks. It's a great show. And also remember to stay productive and don't act stupid.
Whoa, I told my mama Asalama I'ma make it and never forget her. Stacking bread and stacking the cheddar. Who would've known I would've traveled off of writing letters? Who would've known I'd have a job making these instrumentals?